And a very good evening to you. A very good evening to you, and I trust that you had a lovely weekend. And many thanks for joining us on this 16th day of the month of October. And my name is Doreen Arange. And now, given the current state of the nation, the political unrest, the political uncertainty and confusion, our panelists tonight shall be helping us understand how this situation has affected the country, in what ways and in what aspects has it affected the country, which is what we are asking you tonight. How has the political situation affected the country? How has the political situation affected the country? 22162, starting with the word news, is the text line, or you can tweet at Y254 channel at Doreen Arange, and the hashtag is Y254 updates, and shall be getting into that conversation in a short while, just to get to understand the current state of the nation. But for now, let's take a look at some of the stories making news at this hour. And now, starting us off, the death toll from the most powerful bomb blast witnessed in Somalia's capital on Saturday the 14th has risen to 300. Officials now fear the toll will continue to rise from the truck bomb in Mogadishu that targeted a busy street near key government ministries.
The developing story from the blast this weekend has seen the death toll increase by at least 276, with more than 300 injured. Ambulance sirens echoed in the city of Mogadishu after the truck bomb saw many bewildered families wander in the rubble of buildings in search of their missing relatives. The doctors from Medina Hospital claimed to be overwhelmed in the struggle to assist wounded victims, many who were burned beyond recognition, and the dead. Angry protesters gathered near the scene of the attack as Somalia's government blamed the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab extremist group for what was termed as a national disaster. However, the Al-Shabaab have yet to make a comment. Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed declared 3 days of mourning and joined the thousands of people who responded to the desperate plea by hospitals for blood donation. Hilda Wadhivi for Y News.
Mina baba. And now the European Union has called for dialogue and compromise ahead of the October 26 repeat presidential election, even as it lauded efforts by the electoral agencies to right the wrongs identified in the annulled August 8th poll. In a statement, the EU Observer Mission in Kenya warned that the political aggravation was not good for the country ahead of the polls.
The mission warned that the no elections call by Raila Odinga of National Super Alliance (NASA) and the insistence by President Kenyatta's Jubilee Party to pass controversial amendments to electoral laws are seriously damaging democratic functioning. Dialogue and cooperation are urgently needed for compromise so that there can be a peaceful electoral process with integrity and transparency, and Kenyans can choose their president. The mission had developed 18 suggestions for reforms before the repeat poll, 9 of which were concerning the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. In its assessment of the implementation of the suggestions, the mission said the IEBC had done well in nearly all of the 9 recommendations. The European Union said it will continue observing the repeat poll, with its 24 long-time observers currently serving in different parts of the country. Reporting for Y254 News, my name is Patricia Murioki.
Now, the National Police Service has denied allegations that the police have so far killed 33 people in the post-election demos. Human rights watchdog Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch had on Tuesday released a report claiming that police were directly implicated in the deaths.
The 33 victims were reportedly killed during police operations in Mathare, Kibera, Dandora, Babadogo, Korogosho and Kawangware between August 9 and 13, 2017. The report by the two organizations reported that as many as 50 people, mainly from opposition stronghold in the capital, could have lost their lives during the protest against President Kenyatta's win. Other victims, the rights defenders claim, died of asphyxiation from inhaling tear gas and pepper spray, from being hit by tear gas canisters fired at close range, or from being trampled to death by fleeing crowds. A similar report was released last week by the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and equally dismissed by police headquarters, which is under intense pressure from the opposition to justify Friday's killing of 3 people shot dead in Bondo after they were accused of storming police station. Dereva Hillary for Y254 News.
And on some political matters now, President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party will hire 290 lawyers and deploy them to constituency tallying centers in an elaborate plan they say will right the wrongs identified by the Supreme Court.
The lawyers will be required to follow through the results transmission process in the October 26 repeat presidential election after the August 8 poll was annulled by the Supreme Court on what it is said were irregularities and illegalities. The lawyers will report to an elected Jubilee Party MP or one who was a candidate and lost on August 8 polls and who will act as President Kenyatta's chief agent at the constituencies. The chief agent will also be in charge of an information technology expert and an elections expert. At the polling station, Jubilee Party has set up checklist for the agents to tick as the statutory results declaration form 34A is being filled by the presiding officer. The party has also asked all its agents to ensure they get a legible carbon copy of the form before it leaves the polling station. President Kenyatta has insisted that he was robbed of his victory on the basis of process rather than the will of the people, and has said that the Supreme Court should have ordered a recount of the ballot papers. Dereva Hillary for Y254 News.
And I remember today we are talking about the political situation in the country, and as we had asked you earlier, how has this political situation affected the country? In what aspects and in what ways has it affected the country? Keep talking to us. 22162, starting with the word news, is the text line, or you can tweet at Y254 channel at Doreen Arange. The hashtag is Y254 update. So stick around for that conversation, which shall be coming to you in a short while. And now moving on, reports now reveal that the National Super Alliance CEO Norman Magaya has allegedly gone into hiding after word got out that the police were looking for him with links to the demos he called last Wednesday that saw the looting and destruction of property.
Mr. Norman Magaya, allegedly the CEO of NASA, notified the Nairobi County Police Commander of the intention to hold peaceful demonstrations in Nairobi. And I've asked the police to circulate this notification to you. During that demonstration, serious cases of destruction of public property, looting.
The warrant for Magaya's arrest came after CS Fred Matiang'i said the government will charge him for calling the demos that turned out badly on Wednesday. The government has since then banned NASA demos within the nation's CBDs as they had turned chaotic with widespread looting and destruction of property taking place. The CEO is said to be responsible for opposition supporters who looted a Nairobi restaurant and destroyed vehicles. Magaya has not been spotted by the police since Thursday last week. The police have visited various places in the city where Magaya frequents, but have failed to locate the CEO. The police, however, did leave instructions that he should report to the police station with immediate effect. Matiang'i called upon all Kenyans whose property was destroyed or looted during the demonstration to report to OCS Nairobi Central Police Station to facilitate legal actions against Magaya.
A second-year student at the University of Nairobi Upper Kabete campus is dead. Janet Wangui Ganga, a Bachelor of Science in Horticulture student, is said to have been poisoned while attending a friend's party. According to her parents, Ms. Ganga attended a party on Saturday night at Githurai with her boyfriend. It's alleged that the guys at the party, including her boyfriend, took advantage of her drunkenness and raped her and then poisoned her. Ms. Ganga was rushed to the hospital on Sunday but passed away in the night. She will be laid to rest in her home, Gitiha, Kiambu County. May her soul rest in peace. Nearly all the results from Tuesday's poll in Liberia have been counted. The Election Commission says Mr. Weah, the first African to win the Ballon d'Or football award, is leading with 39%. Mr. Boakai is in second place with 29%. A second round between the pair has been set for 7th November.
In the field of 20 candidates who competed to succeed Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Africa's first female elected president and a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. Fewer than 5% of stations have yet to declare results. However, for a candidate to be declared a winner, they need more than 50% of the votes for outright victory. If no one achieves that, a second round will be held in November. But final results from the polls are expected by October 25th. A runoff will be held next month if no one has won a majority. A runoff is thus expected between Mr. Weah, the only African to ever win the World Footballer of the Year award in 1995, and Mr. Boakai, who earlier on Sunday said he still hoped to be elected president. Reporting for Y254, I'm Doreen Arange.
And I remember, as we had asked you in the beginning of the bulletin, that tonight we are talking about political matters, and we'll just be getting to understand how this political confusion in the country, how it has affected the country. And of course, my guest tonight will be helping us understand that. So just starting with you, for you to introduce yourselves and tell us what you do and who you are, starting from my immediate left.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Edwin Moneki, Jubilee Youth League Secretary General. Yes, and I'm a businessman.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
To the only lady?
My name is Patricia Mukame, and I'm a student and a journalist.
All right.
Naitwa Frederick Wandera, youth leader at South ODM, and for the past general election, I've had as member of parliament of Davos South.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for coming. Mukasawa?
Kabisa.
All right, just before we get into this question of the day, before we get to understand how this situation has affected the country, just to set the ground up, what normally happens in Kenya after every 5 years? Of course, we have elections, but why do we have this unrest, the atmosphere, the mood just changes? Because a while back, Germany had an election, and you wouldn't even realize that this guys had an election. It was so peaceful. So what happens to Kenya? Why does the atmosphere change? Talk to us about that.
Thank you very much. Because in Kenya, first of all, we have obviously the political parties, which normally comes with different backgrounds and tribes. Now we are divided. Like you can find a political party like Jubilee, the NASA, but at the end of the day, it's all about political parties and tribes.
Okay, what do you think? Why does this atmosphere change? Why can't we just have peaceful during the election, after election, still being peace? Why does it change?
I feel for us, it's because we are more into tribe than having a party that is going to be elected and have a leader who is going to lead us. And I can also say that what causes unrest in the country, we know that history, that the 2007 and 2008 post-election violence, I'm sure it's something that really affected very many people in the country and even outside the country. So I feel it's one reason as to why you find out that we voted, but still people are like, no, I'm not at peace because I don't know what is going to happen next. We have been seeing demonstrations that are not very good and that are not very okay. People are getting hurt, people are dying. So I don't think really there can be peace in such an environment, so it's very difficult for us as a country.
Okay, now just getting to understand how this situation has affected the country. When you look at the education sector right now, the health sector, for a minute it even looks like we forgot that the nurses were striking. People are dying in hospitals. So is this the fact that we are putting so much focus on politics? Are we even forgetting the vital issues in the country? Help us understand that, Fred.
Yes, that's true. We are more in politics, and the reason, with your question, the reason why the country is not settled or everything we can look for it as an mess, it's because of election that we had on August 8th. You know, we were in the two sides of NASA and Jubilee. So the way the presidential election went, that's why this thing is not now progress. Because if we were settled on the presidential election, that everybody was comfortable the way it went. The situation now, I think things could be now okay. Because of the of a presidential election, that's why the country up to now is not in the settle.
It's not settled.
Yes.
So what can you say as a journalist, a student, when you look at the education sector? Has this politics affected the education sector?
It has affected the education sector because right now we know University of Nairobi students are not at school, they're at home. That this is because of politics. They went to the streets because they felt that one of their own was being held against.
Still politics.
Yeah, and it's because of politics that made these kids to go in the street. I'll call them kids because, okay, they are kids.
These are students.
They are students, but still they are kids. So I can say it has really affected the education sector because right now it's all about, everyone is thinking about politics. Because I think like 3 weeks ago, the cabinet secretary for it's Najib Balala, the cabinet secretary for tourism. He talked and said that the tourism sector right now is doing very bad because it's the time in Mombasa right now where we expect to have a lot of foreigners coming in the country to visit the game reserves that we have, to stay and enjoy the sun at the beach. But you can realize that right now the sector is doing very, very badly, and this is affecting our economy, and it's something that is very bad for us as a country.
And the other time we had to have the education, not education, the exam dates postponed for a while. Yeah, because we were talking of elections on 17th, and there are people wanting the elections on 26th. The Constitution, the Supreme Court, the Constitution says that elections must be held by. And now we're about to wait for another 90 days.
Yeah, we're forgetting about the children who are in school. So we can't keep on postponing and say that, okay, education is not important, the exams are not important, because even right now, most of the elections, the people cast their votes, most of them in schools. Which means we cannot have these students in school while we are going to vote, because you don't know what is going to happen. Someone has said they're not going to show up. You don't know what are they going to do. They say they boycott the election. So I'll not leave, if I was a parent, I'll not leave my child in a school whereby I don't know what is going to happen the next minute.
And also that has repercussions, because if the child is not left in school, that means they have to stay in school for more years. Okay, Mr. Mwanik, you just said apart from politics, you're also a businessman. When you look at the situation, of course, being a business person, when you look at the economy and you in the business sector, how can you say this situation has affected the business world, the business sector?
Okay, the situation, the demonstration, first of all, have affected the business.
In what ways? In what ways?
First of all, like, unaweza kuta kila time, wana demonstrate. First of all, wanaingia kwa street. There's some people paying rent. Maybe unakuta kwa shop moja they paying over 60,000, and the yeah, I'm a business. I have a shop in Way Avenue. Now, at least I'm talking out of experience. Now unakuta tunaitishwa rent, but you cannot raise that rent because hakuna stability. You are everyone in mtu akiwa nyumbani anaogopa kuingia town because of anaona ni kama kutakuwa na shida. Now hakuna biashara. First of all, wanafaa nasimamisha hizo biashara, hizo demonstrations zao. At least we go back to our businesses.
But also these guys have a right to demonstrate.
They have a right, but at the end of the day, demonstrate peacefully. Don't come and you should not affect our businesses. Sisi tunafaa cooperate businesses zetu normal. Don't come and unakuta mwingine anaingia kwa shop, is looting, windows being like me, I'm a victim. My
but
car
how can we say, how can we ascertain that these people who actually get into this shop are the ones that are demonstrating and not just someone from somewhere coming in and taking advantage of the situation and coming to steal or do whatever it is?
At the end of the day, we look at who's demonstrating. If it's NASA, who will be held accountable. Is it Jubilee? It's NASA.
Okay, if I can come in on that, please, Mr. Mwaniki, let's be realistic.
Yes.
Because you are saying you have a shop on the Moi Avenue.
Yes.
You have these people, you are calling them Nairobi business, whatever.
The business community.
Yeah. These are the people who are looting.
No.
Not NASA.
No, it's not.
Because
the Nairobi
sometimes I have been involved in
they have just
You've also demonstrated?
Yeah?
You've also been
I have been in demonstration.
The Nairobi.
Let me correct you.
Okay.
We have a plan of demonstration. As for example, we come from when we start our demonstration from Horo Park, we come all over on the way. For example, High Slash.
Yeah.
You go around. You know, we have these plans, but you guys, this is Nairobi, whatever business community.
Yeah.
Their people, they bring their people to loot and to loot, and then because it is NASA who has bring on the demonstration. They said it is NASA. It is
very visible.
What we can do.
Let me address that issue.
Yes.
Because you start at Uhuru Park, yes, Haile Selassie. You find even sodas at someone's shops. You start drinking. I am going to even parking and breaking even the windows, car windows.
Okay, where Nairobi
full demonstration.
Where Nairobi business, whatever you are calling.
Let's move to this topic, because we are a bit deviating, and you're focusing on how we demonstrate and how we loot the cars and how
actually,
we go
that's
to
the
businesses.
reason why the demonstration is what is now putting us in a mess. Both sides, the ODM.
It's the one affecting now.
Affecting us, exactly. Because, okay, for example, mimi niko pale mashinani. Even Mama Mboga, he's crying. No demonstration on mashinani. Pale zitu tunaishi. Let us be realistic. But hata Mama Mboga pale, ule mtu anauza mayai pale, ile hotel ya mtaani, they are being affected na hii kitu. The reason why hakuna pesa, let us say that hakuna pesa Kenya saa hii. It's not all about.
But then I think, Doreen, let me say
Let
this.
me just bring Patricia in and let's listen to what
Because people are demonstrating. Peaceful elections means that don't block ways, don't break into people's shops, just walk.
Yeah.
If you have your slogans, go shouting them. No one is going to ask you. But then the moment you start doing things that are really going to hurt other people that are not even involved, you're really going against the law. But then I feel these demonstrations, they have been happening, I don't know since when. It's not happening, it's not helping us. What I would say is that for these two leaders that we love very much, I'm very sure these are friends. One can pick it's only that no one wants to be the first one to make the phone call. They can sit down at a table and decide and say, this country, we love it, we all want to be leaders. What can we do what can we do, Doreen and Patricia, what can we do if we sit down today and save this country from all these riots? Because people are dying. And they're not, as long as demonstrations are happening, there are some people who come there, they are not demonstrating because they feel NASA is being left out or Jubilee is being left out, but then demonstrate they are here because they want to take advantage of the situation still.
Your point is home, your point. So we can safely say that this political situation has actually affected the country in greater ways.
Very great, yeah.
And it's mostly steered by demonstration, because this is what affects the economy and the health sector. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. So if you just move to
I agree with my sister here. Because even without the demonstration, you know, as long as the country is not settled, we can see with the election, there's no tourists who will come in Kenya. And we won't even have the atutakuwa na ila money. You know, let us call a fact. There's no way vile kukosa hii utaonea kwamba, for example, our politics in Kenya inaenda kwa kabila fulani, it is being very comfortable to travel in another stronghold. Itakuwa ngumu, and that's why we need to be very careful to end these things.
Fred, we had you, and I can see Mwaniki really has to say something, but I won't give him the time for now. However, as we just finish up, I'd like you to just tell us, do you think Kenya is headed towards being a failed state, or there's still hope as we finish up? Because you see, the political situation at the moment is kind of making there's a lot of instability in the country. So are we headed towards being a failed state, or there's still hope for the country, as we just finish up this discussion?
Okay, whatever I'll say, Kenya is a very peaceful country. And hii maneno ya watu kusema ati Kenya hakuna peace, hakuna ati there's violence and everything, it's a lie. Whatever we should focus is, we go to election, come 26. Tuende pale kwa debe, we tupige kura. Kama ni Uhuru anaingia, tumwapishe haraka. Kama ni Jacob muiche, na sijui kama ako ready kuingia kwa nini, kama ajui kama anaingia ama haingii. But whatever you should concentrate is peace in Kenya. Iko na election we focus on 26, nothing else. Then Kenya tutaendelea venye ilikuwa, a very prosperous country, a very economy ilikuwa stable, and everything else.
So we are not headed towards being a failed state.
Kenya is a very beautiful country. Yeah.
That is a lot of confidence there. Right, Patricia.
Okay, I'll say Kenya is not going to, it's not headed in the wrong direction because we have very great leaders. We are very amazing leaders, and I'm very positive there are people who love this country because this is our motherland. We protect it with everything that we have. So I am very sure what it takes, what I would say is that all these leaders know each other. What they need to do is sit down and talk and discuss, and I'll be like, this is what we can do to make sure that this does not happen. Because let's be very real, let's call a spade and not a big spoon. Because if people are demonstrating, I'm not going to feel safe to walk around town. I'll lock myself in my house. The same way, you're not going to lie to me. Mwaniki, I don't know what you're trying to say, because you're not saying that Kenya is peaceful. Let's be very real. There is no peace right now. But there can be peace if our leaders sit down together and talk and solve all these things, so that as we go,
the only way we'll solve this 26 ndo itaamua.
But now before 26, what takes do you want to take?
Mkate nusu, president alisema hakuna hataki.
It's not about mkate nusu. It's not about mkate nusu. It's about minding about these citizens who are going to vote.
It will not only happen after we practice our constitutional right. It's voting.
We really have to continue this discussion. Just, Fred, tell us, what do you think about Kenya as a country?
Okay, Kenya...
Are we heading towards being a failed state at some point?
That's big no.
A big no?
Big no.
So we still have hope as a country?
We have a big hope in our country. For example, for us as young people of this country, we need to stand up for our right and the good for the good for our country. What I want to say is before you go off, is that Kenya is stable. Let us not lie for ourselves. The thing is, the way Mwaniki say, let us go on 28 on the ballot, and then
that's on 26th.
On 26th.
Yes.
And then Kenya will remain, because we will be already practice our right of voting, and the person we know who will be voting will stand firm and unite our country. The unite will come.
But how do we go to the election? How do we go to the election on the 26th when the NASA leader said there will be no election, is not going to be there? As much as he has withdrawn, trust you me.
This conversation.
The person who will be elected. The person who will be elected will have, that is the mandate of the leader. You will have.
We're talking about the stability of the country.
So
for the stability.
I'll have to cut you guys short. Clearly, we cannot finish this conversation. It's just a heated discussion. We probably have to continue it some other time, some other day. But thank you so much, guys, for coming. Thank you so much for shedding some light on helping us understand how the country is at the moment, how we have been affected, and what we can do, especially as young people, to ensure that we get back to our feet. So we really appreciate your contributions and your discussions.
Thank you.
And that discussion marks the end of our bulletin tonight. But remember to stick around for Why Mashariki coming in a short while. My name is Doreen Arange, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nice.